Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, where each episode we bring you a fresh and insightful interview with one of the film industry's top directors, conducted by one of their peers. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on Google Play Music, iTunes, Stitcher, or on our SoundCloud page at soundcloud.com/thedirectorscut. And if you're enjoying The Director's Cut, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. We love hearing your feedback. This episode takes us behind the scenes of director Martin Campbell's new film, The Foreigner, which stars Jackie Chan as Quan, a London businessman who embarks on a revenge-fueled vendetta after his teenage daughter is killed in a terrorist attack. As Quan searches for the terrorists, he is forced into a cat-and-mouse game with a British government official whose past could help identify the killers. In addition to The Foreigner, Mr. Campbell's directorial credits include the feature films Casino Royale, Goldeneye, Edge of Darkness, Green Lantern, Mask of Zorro, and Legend of Zorro, as well as episodes of the television series Homicide: Life on the Street. Following a recent screening of the film at the DGA Theater in Los Angeles, Mr. Campbell spoke with director Michael Apted about filming The Foreigner. During their conversation, Mr. Campbell discusses how he convinced Jackie Chan to take on the role, how he tackled shooting so many action scenes on a fast-paced schedule, and the value of working with new collaborators.
So this was probably one of the more successful co-productions, isn't it?
Well, I guess so. You know, we've done reasonably well, I have to say. We did pretty well in China, and you know, we I think worldwide we've done pretty well. So yeah, I guess so.
So was it? How did it come to be this film for you?
Simply, I was on I sort of worked with Marconi on it sort of in the early days, and then STX picked it up, and then I was offered another movie, which with Relativity, which I was on that for something like 8 or 9 months, and then Relativity collapsed, as a lot of these film companies do. It went bankrupt, and then the weekend after I walked off that, they then offered me, I came back onto this movie.
And was there a big Chinese presence when you were preparing the film?
Sorry?
Was there a big Chinese presence? Was there a lot of...
No, not at all. Not at all. First of all, I had to go to China 3 or 4 times to talk to Jackie, to convince him to, well, he wasn't, 100% sure he wanted to do it. And then finally he signed on. And once that happened, then that meant the film was on its way, basically.
How was he to work with? Because I think you did a great job with him, the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, for him it was the first time he had done something I think as serious as this. He had done Police Story, which were very successful for him in China, and where he played, a police detective, very serious parts. But he just wanted to change. He's 63 now, and he actually feels that he wants to do other things, that he wants to branch out. So this seemed the perfect vehicle for him, and so really, that's why it happened.
Was he easy to direct?
Yeah, very. Totally professional, always on time, and. We started off with cue cards with Jackie because, of course, it's a long time since he's done an American, or if you will, a Western movie. But I think after the first day we talked and no more cue cards, and he learnt his lines, and he really took it very seriously.
He's very good in it. I mean, had he done anything like this before?
No, he hadn't. He hadn't done anything this serious before. Not playing this sort of part, no.
And how was he? I mean, to come clean with you, I think you are one of the best action directors there is. And I can say that. Because I dabbled in Bond, and your Bonds...
we're both Bond refugees.
Yeah, but your Bonds are always the best,
unfortunately.
Oh, were they? Okay, but there you go. But how do you approach action sequences? You look at the script, and obviously the attraction of this film is that Jackie is going to do a lot of, action stuff and stunt stuff. How do you approach it when you have the script and you break down all the action sequences? What are you looking for?
Well, the first thing with this was to actually say to Jackie, look, we're not going to do the usual Jackie Chan action sequences. It all has to have a military background, so the action has to be, it can't be what you've done in the past. In other words, there's no humor to it, there's no jokes to it, it all has to be tough, real, not go on too long, but be pretty brutal when we get into it. And he agreed to do it. We had 2 stunt arrangers. One was Jackie's, who was a terrific guy, called Han. Jackie always travels with his team, which was about, I guess, 14 or 15 people. And we had Greg Powell, who was the British. I had a British stunt arranger because I just wanted to make sure that the balance was correct, what we've normally come to expect from Jackie. And he agreed to go along with that. And so, but there was a little bit of friction between as you can imagine, between the Chinese, between Han, the Chinese stunt arranger, and of course Greg. The 2 different cultures, basically.
Who's a big guy, too.
He is a big guy, yeah.
And were you in the middle of this?
No, I arbitrated, if you will. But so what would happen is that they would rehearse. For example, the fight in the house sequence, they would rehearse on the weekend, and I would then go in, I would cut it down. I say, I want this, 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 and this. I didn't want any of the sequences to go on too long. And I would say, no, there's too much Jackie Chan in this. We can't do that. We've got to. And remarkably, he went along. There was no real objection to it. So that's the way we worked it.
Yeah, I always think that action sequences go on far too long, and then they lose their reality.
I agree. Yeah.
Have you always felt that, or was that?
I always do, and. It always, you see these sequences where somebody gets punched and there's no blood, there's nothing. I mean, one good punch in the face, you're a squashed tomato, basically. I mean, there's blood everywhere. And there's sort of no reality to it. The sound effects all do it. And, of course, obviously the reactions of the people being hit. And so, but really, there's no reality to it. The other thing about action is to know what's going on. So many of the movies now, they all seem to be like 6-frame cuts. They're so quick. I don't see the geography. I don't know what's happening. I don't get any sort of... I just don't know what's going on, really, in the fight. I hear a lot of sound effects. I see a lot of reactions. I have no clue as to who's doing what to whom.
I mean, you sound like an old conservative.
I am an old conservative.
You
and me both.
Yeah,
a couple of relics from the past, but
Greg worked with me, and again, there's this thing: make it shorter.
Yeah.
Because I just think it becomes unreal and whatever.
It does, and actually, I was looking at your movie. In fact, we were here, a few weeks ago, looking at your movie again. Short, sharp action sequences. They seem to have, for me, much more impact, and they're just not. They just don't go on endlessly and endlessly and endlessly. So.
It's so boring, isn't it, when he does that?
Yeah.
But you mentioned to me when we were having a little chat about the different difficulties with sound, because Jack is not used to recording sound live on film.
Well, no, Jackie works. It's interesting. I don't know if anybody knows this, but TV in China, they loop everybody. There's no real sound recorded. What they do is they record the guide tracks, and then the actors themselves may not even loop the episode. They have other actors to actually loop the people who are in the whatever episode, and they can be shooting anything up to 100 TV series, at the same time, which is true. I mean, they do it. But with Jackie, it was simply him being able to, with his his understanding of English, obviously, because it was a long time since he had, I guess, the Rush Hours, or with the last ones he did, Rush Hour 3, which was, 10, 15 years ago. So his English was a little was not that clear. So he started off on cue cards, but I put a stop to that and sort of said, no, you have to learn the lines, you have to learn them, you have to understand that, which, to his credit, he did. He simply took it very seriously. And the rest of it, I think we probably looped 2% of his lines, if that.
That's all? Wow.
Yeah, very little.
So you had to be very patient with him and keep doing a lot of takes on it so you could get it?
Well, to begin with, absolutely, and a lot of takes. But then, as we went along, he really worked hard. He worked with Pierce in his downtime to actually get it. And in the end, there were not that many takes.
Was Pierce helpful with it all?
Yeah, very, very helpful.
He's
Helped
good.
him a lot.
He's a good man, isn't he?
Very good. Very good. Pierce is, I think, a vastly underrated actor. I think his performance is terrific in this movie.
Yeah, it is. I didn't realize he was as Irish as he sounds in this.
Well, this is Northern Irish. Of course, he's not Northern Irish. But this accent, if anybody has heard Gerry Adams or any of the Irish leaders, right? Yeah. McGuinness, for example, McGuinness and Gerry Adams, that accent is just about perfect.
Now, I noticed there were lots of your stunts done in London. It seemed to be London. Now, blowing up buses and things like that. Now, you couldn't do that anymore, could you?
No, I'm afraid I don't think you'll be allowed to blow anything up in London. The bus was actually duplicated there was an IRA attack in Tavistock Square, a real attack.
Yeah,
I think it killed 56 people. It was a horrific attack, and we literally got all the footage from that, and we duplicated that almost exactly when a bomb goes off in the bus. Right. And they allowed us onto the bridge. It took 4 months of prep and 4 months of getting permissions and everything else. Up to that point, of course, it was a long time since there was a terrorist attack in London. And finally they agreed to do it. And we let everybody know it was happening. And we blew the thing. I think it took 4 hours. We were allowed 4 hours on the bridge. From 8 in the morning, at midday, we had to have all the traffic running again smoothly. That was it. So literally one take. So it better work on one take, which is what we did. And we'd spent previous weekends going out, marking positions, so on and so forth. Anyway, we blew the thing up. It all worked. And the Daily Mirror, which is one of the rags of papers in England, that had this huge headline saying moronic across the front page, with a big picture of the bus blowing up, and claimed there were 4,000 people who complained. We had two people complained about the bomb going.
So how many cameras did you have on it? If you only had
It was 9. We had 9.
9 of it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So where did you shoot most of the film? In
London. No, most of it's in London.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it was a tight budget. So we had to shoot just in one city, basically. I sent a second unit over to Ireland, so obviously the scenes where he gets off the ferry, where he's traveling through those gates that divide the Protestants and the Catholics, right, which is a very famous gate, and the murals on the wall, which still remain there, the Bloody Sunday mural, for example. That was second unit, and all the rest was...
So who was your second unit
director? Jamie Marshall, who was also one of the line producers. So we sent him to Ireland to do that.
So talk about the crew, because I thought it was beautifully photographed. I thought the design was wonderful, and I thought the music was wonderful.
Yeah, the crew, David Tattersall, who was the DP, he had done 3 Star Wars movies, he had done The Green Mile, he's done a lot of movies. And he also did Vertical Limit for Me, which is a film I did a long time ago. That was the first time I worked with him.
Which one was that?
Vertical Limit.
Oh, right. That's the one you did in your homeland.
In New Zealand, yeah. We shot that there, which was a tough shoot, but he was excellent on that. And he's also very fast, which, films have changed now. The kind of budgets that you and I work on now, which we prefer almost, is this was a film that cost $38 million. I guess it sounds a lot, but it's actually not that much for what we had to achieve. In order to do that, you have to have a DP that works, lighting camera that works very fast, right? That you have a great rapport with. I had a designer I worked with years ago on a film I did in Australia called No Escape was Alan Cameron. Oh. This is his son, really? Who is now. So he was Alex Cameron. Yeah, it was terrific. So I used him. The music, Cliff Martinez, who had done Drive. I don't know if everybody saw that film, but the music was absolutely terrific in it.
You did a lot of Soderbergh's movies.
Yeah, excellent. Really a good guy. And again, budgeting on those sort of budgets, you have to look at everything in terms of your spend on music and, in the independent world.
Do you like to keep the same crew together?
Yeah, as much as possible. And in fact, it had been a while since I shot a film in England, but apart from my DP, probably everybody else was new. The wardrobe, for example, designer actually was a wardrobe assistant who I'd worked with before, who I promoted and did a terrific job. She did a marvelous job.
So now what about cutting the film, the editing? How was that? Stuart Baird is my normal editor. He's here. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him for months.
Well, he's probably in the bar or somewhere. But the thing is, Stuart's a tremendous editor. He did Casino Royale for me. He's done Edge of Darkness for me. Green Lantern for me. He's done all of that. But on these sort of budgets, of course,
he's too expensive.
He's too bloody expensive. I mean, you can't afford the man. Anyway, so at the end of the day, I'd shot some pilots with Angela Catazano, and she'd done a marvelous job on those. I did 3 pilots with her, so I just promoted her and said, come and cut the film. And I thought she did a superb job.
Yeah, she did. I mean, it seems that you had real free hand with the crew. So all your numerous producers backed away from all that, did they?
Well, to be honest, the producers, I had a very good, the man who developed Wayne was Wayne Godfrey, was terrific, just let us get on with the job. And frankly, the other producers, Arthur Sarkisian, they stayed away, they let us do it, we kept our nose clean, I guess, and we really did it. The film practically was produced by the 2 line producers, who was,
you lucked in there, didn't you?
I did, and they did a great job, and they got producer credits, and they deserved it.
I always like to, in this situation, I always like to ask directors, did the film turn out as you thought it would?
Yeah, I'm not even sure I knew what it would turn out like. I haven't got a clue when you... Do you? I've got no idea how it's going to turn out.
This is my favorite quote, is a documentary director, Albert Maisel, said, if the film turns out as you thought it would, you haven't been listening. Which I think is wonderful. To show the amount that you have to try and not improvise, but pick up or acknowledge or be flexible to give it the life, as it were.
Yeah, it's a very good quote.
But I mean, with this sort of stuff, I mean, it has to be so clearly laid out, doesn't it? I mean, the plotting and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's interesting, some people have sort of criticized it because it's 2 films, but I didn't ever see it as a Jackie Chan film. I saw it as a Jackie Chan Pierce Brosnan movie. I never, and obviously the IRA stuff, you have to listen to that to actually understand it. And I can totally understand an American audience perhaps having difficulty sort of understanding the IRA sort of elements to the story and so forth.
I mean, did you have to loop some of that afterwards after?
No,
but everybody nothing. Accepted. That's good.
Very little looping in the film at all.
So what was the toughest part of the film, do you think?
The toughest part always is just the schedule. I mean, how much you have to do. When we started shooting in London during the winter, I didn't get Jackie for 3 weeks. So by 3 p.m, it was dark. So we had to start as soon as it was dawn, we'd be rolling. Right. And then by 3:00, it had gone black. So, for example, right at the beginning, the bomb goes off, she dies, Jackie, and then you cut to the scene of the tragedy with the ambulances and all the medics and everybody else. That was supposed to be a daylight scene. But of course, in reality in London, it would probably be a night scene given
So you had
the time factor.
You had to flow with that, did you?
Yeah.
Turn it from day to night and whatever.
Absolutely, you do, yeah.
So that was
Short days in terms of
how many days did you have on the film?
53.
That's not a lot. When you're having so much action.
I would remind
to do
you
and
shot
stuff
yours, I think, in 44 or
Yeah,
something.
but I didn't have lots of nasty fighting and killing and all that sort of stuff, and spouting blood.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think it's very successful. Is this going to lead you now into the world of Chino-American movies?
Yeah, China's fascinating, actually going over there to see what they're doing over there. Clearly they want, something they're pushing for American Chinese movies. A Chinese element to the movie is what they want, but what they don't want is the token Chinese kind of, let's put a Chinese character in and therefore that we'll show the movie. They limit the amount of Western films that are shown. I think it's 34 at the moment, 35 annually are allowed to be shown in China. But what they do require is that it's not just the token Chinese. It needs to, if it's going to be a Chinese American co-production, it clearly has to have a solid participation, both in character and plot, to do with the Chinese.
And you delivered that. I mean, although it's dominated by Jackie, there are other Chinese parts.
Well, also Jackie helps. I mean, he's very well loved in China, so obviously that helped get the film to be one of the 34.
But I'm not answering your question for you, but he put himself into your hands, really. He didn't want to bring other things from his other history of filmmaking or whatever into this.
No, not at all.
That's kind of amazing, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, he's what you see. What you see is what you get. Is a very generous, very professional. And what people don't realize is that literally halfway through the shoot, he had a double hernia operation.
Oh my!
Double hernia, and he was 5 hours on the table being operated on. And this is on a Friday. Now, normally that would be at least 6 weeks off. So on Monday, he turns up, right? And in order for him just to sit up from a lying position, we had to put cables on him to get him to sit up. And he never complained. But we had to be obviously very careful because, you can, and double him. And actually has an extraordinary double. This guy, if you met him, you would go up and say, "How are you, Jackie?"
Really?
Literally that.
I was looking at a bit tonight, because he must have didn't do all his stunts himself, and whoever did the
Well,
stunts.
he does. I have to say, he does a lot of that. Jackie does a lot of the fist stuff himself. Right. And he's a hard taskmaster on the British actors too, when he's got to train them to. Right. And he's a great guy.
Was he
seriously
tough on Greg, the stunt coordinator?
He what?
Was he tough on Greg?
Yeah, there's a little friction there. There was a little bit of friction there between the two parties, no question about that. And I had to referee it a little bit. That's filmmaking.
Yeah, there you go. So what lies ahead, do we know?
Well, I'm going on to a movie called The Professionals in Africa, which is a sort of...
It's not called The Professionals in Africa. It's called The Professionals, and it takes place in Africa.
That's better.
Is that right? Right. Okay. No.
That's why he's the MC.
Well,
but
yes, clarity.
Yes, that's it. So it all takes place in Nigeria. So it's so that looks like the next one.
When are you going?
It'll probably be I'll do it early in the next year.
Really?
I mean,
then I'll stop seeing you when you go to Africa.
The what?
I'll stop seeing you when you go to Africa.
Yes, indeed.
Have you shot in Africa?
Yes, I have. A little bit. I mean, did some extra shooting on Green Lantern in Africa with Ryan Reynolds, who was shooting something else out there. So, but I've been to Cape Town a lot.
Yes,
but
well,
this is kind of down and dirty. It's
I
very
spent
tough.
months in Africa. I spent months
I
in
know,
Africa
well,
with gorillas.
And Stuart Baird cut it, if I'm not
Is that
correct.
right?
Did he?
Is that what
Stuart,
he
did
said?
you cut it?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did cut it. Thanks for remembering. I was only teasing you. I mean, it did take a year
That was a
to
great
edit,
film.
didn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So I knew you were there, for God's sake.
Gorillas in the Mist, by the way, for anybody who.
All right, well, thank you very much for this.
That's great.
Very good.
And thank you all for coming along.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. Don't forget, you can check out past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date on the great discussions we have coming up. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, share, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks again for listening, and have a great week. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.